What's going on, YouTube? It's your boy Omar, and today I'm here with some good news. Our prayers have finally been answered, Mets fans. We have made a deadline deal. Lucas Duda will be heading to the Tampa Bay Rays in exchange for right-handed pitcher Drew Smith, who won't slot into our 25-man right away, but hopes to contribute in the near future. Before I get too much into Drew Smith, I just want to address Lucas Duda first, because he does deserve some respect on his way out. Believe it or not, Lucas Duda actually is the second longest tenured Met in history, team history that is. 8 years he put in with the team, which is second to only David Wright. And really, I was never a huge Lucas Duda guy, but at the same time, I never really hated Lucas Duda. I didn't dislike him or anything like that. I felt that at times people overrated Duda a little bit just because, he has a power bat. But hey, that happens to really everybody that has a power bat. A guy starts hitting a lot of home runs and people start to overrate them no matter what their average is or the other aspects of their game are looking like. Lucas Duda got hot at points, but he was never Aaron Judge or anything like that. He never had a run like that. But still, I felt that sometimes people jumped on the bandwagon a little bit with him. That being said, he was a pretty solid defender for us at first base. At least, in our eyes as Mets fans, he was, because everybody else we've put over there in the past 8 years has been pretty trashed. So, he battled some injuries, but he was always a good guy and a pretty decent player for us. And, it's going to be weird seeing him play for a different team. One thing that's weird was that when this season started, I always play MLB The Show, which is, the basic Major League Baseball video game. And in my franchise mode, Lucas Duda was on the Rays. And I remember saying to myself, this was early in the season, I was like, wow, he just looks so weird on the Rays. And now, here we go in real life, he is going to be a member of the Tampa Bay Rays. So as far as Lucas Duda goes, I hope, obviously, I wish the best for him. I hope that the Rays make a nice run because A, that'd be good for Lucas, and B, it's an underdog team, which I always like to see in the playoffs, or at least making a run at the playoffs. C, and most importantly, if the Rays are making a run, that probably means the Yankees aren't, which, hey, as a Met fan, I could take that. I could work with that. But Lucas, thank you for your time with the Mets. Obviously, he's not watching the video, but yeah, just wanted to say it was a good time. Lucas, he was a good player for us, and he was a quiet guy, but he was a good guy. You could tell. So now on to the bigger, more important piece of business, which is who are the Mets bringing in to not replace Lucas Duda, but who are they getting for Lucas Duda? And Drew Smith is the guy we're getting. He's a right-handed reliever, and I had no idea who he was. So I did some research, and I'm just going to pull up his baseball reference page here and go off of that as well. I've already looked it over, but I'm going to share with you guys now. So basically, Drew Smith, he's a 23-year-old right-handed reliever. He is from Dallas, and he went to Dallas Baptist University, which is in Dallas, Texas, for a little bit, but he was actually drafted by the Detroit Tigers in the 3rd round in 2015 and signed with them, and then traded over, obviously, to Tampa Bay. And since then, he has been really pretty solid everywhere he went. I mean, obviously, when he started in rookie ball, you could tell that he was kind of overmatching guys, and he really didn't belong there. But I'm looking here at some numbers, and hey, the New York Penn League, which is where the Brooklyn Cyclones play, it's not a good league by any means, but there are plenty of players who are drafted high who struggle there. So it's obviously better to do well than not to do well. And in the Penn League in 2015, when he first got drafted, he actually pitched in 11 games, 27 and 2/3 innings, and had a 0.33 ERA, which is impeccable. But since then, he has pitched only 1 inning at the AAA level, and mostly he's pitched in high A ball. He only pitched 3 and 2/3 in AA with Montgomery, the Biscuits, I believe, this year. But again, he did not give up a run in those 3 and 2/3 in AA. Did not give up a run in his inning in AAA. So very, very small sample size, but he's been effective on all levels. That's the message I'm trying to bring across here. Also this year, he's pitched on 2 high A teams, the one for Detroit and the one for Tampa Bay. So this year, he's really pitched on 4 teams in 3 leagues, and in total, he's 1-2 with a 1.60 ERA. And for his career now, over the first 3 seasons of his minor league career, he is 5-4 with a 1.80 ERA. You would like to see the strikeouts be high for a guy that, the scouts say he has 97, 98 mile per hour stuff, and they are 140 strikeouts over 124 and 2/3 innings, which is about 10 per 9 innings. So really, I mean, like I said, he hasn't pitched much in Double A or Triple A yet, but all the numbers are pretty solid for now. And what the scouts say, first of all, he's ranked as the 30th Tampa Bay Ray prospect, which when I saw that, I was a little bit worried that, we just got some screw up. But basically, A, multiple teams have checked in on him and have been interested on him. B, the Mets have a clear need at bullpen, so obviously he's not going to be in the major leagues right away, but it'll help us in the future. He's a 23-year-old, which is great, very young guy. And B, was I going by numbers or was I going by letters? I think I was going by letters. So C, and most importantly here, the scouts also say that he had no business being number 30 on the Tampa Bay Rays list, and that, like I said, multiple teams were looking into him and that he's a pretty solid player. The one thing that I did notice, not really this year, but last year, were some walks. And this is actually something that maybe he's worked to get better on, and hey, if that's the case, then that would be beautiful. But in 2016, he only pitched for one team, which was Detroit's regular A-ball team. He walked 23 over 48 innings, which was something, obviously, when you have a reliever, you don't want them to be walking a batter every 2 innings. Well, this year he's down to, let's see here, 9 walks in 45 innings. So right at 1 walk per 5 innings. So, obviously he's not facing cream of the crop hitters, but walks are something that are a big indicator from the minor leagues on. It sometimes has, very little or just at least little to do with the hitters. And it's good to see him correct that already. I have no ETA for this guy. I have no idea when he'll be pitching with the Mets. I would think maybe even next year at some point. He will need to get more seasoning in AAA, but usually when it comes to relievers, it's something that teams aren't afraid to call them up. It's not Ahmed Rosario where you're trying to time it perfectly for the number 2 prospect in baseball. So we'll see what happens with Drew Smith, but all the indicators point to this being a pretty good trade for the Mets. Obviously, it makes sense for the Rays as well, and they're running for, they could use another power bat as they make a run for that AL wild card. But as I'm looking at it here right now, in terms of just a Met fan, since we're talking about the Mets here, this guy has the potential to be a pretty solid bullpen arm, and Lord knows we could use one of those on the Mets roster. So we'll see how he pans out, of course. We don't know anything yet until he pitches an inning in the major leagues, or maybe more than 1 inning in AAA. But until next time, hopefully we make another deal and I'm making another video. Until then, see you guys later.